Hi, I'm Jon Kirkman and I'm the owner and presenter of Classic Rock Radio, and I suppose I do lots of other things as well, but that's enough for now. Now, one of the great things that I have been able to be involved with over the years is receiving box sets and new releases from record companies. And of course, the market now really does have a lot of box sets coming out on the market because people like collector's editions and things like that. Now, there's a really nice box set. It's the Space Movie. That's Tony Palmer's film with a soundtrack by Mike Oldfield. Now, I have here the box set of that, which is available from gonzomultimedia.co.uk. If you go to the featured items, you'll find that along with other box sets, some of which we're going to be talking about in different videos. But this is the box set, the limited edition box set, for the Space Movie. Now, a little bit of background about Tony Palmer. Tony Palmer, British film director, who I think started his career up here in the Northwest, where I am, for Granada Television. He worked with so many great artists and people that have been involved in music and film and the theatre over the years. And he's got a huge reputation for making wonderful films about various bands, musicians, and actors, and all sorts of different things as well. And in 1979, to commemorate the 10th anniversary, as it was then, of the moon landing, Tony decided to make the film The Space Movie. Now, he actually used, and was very lucky to be able to use, footage from the NASA archives. Now there is, if we've opened up the box, there's what you get. There is a signed sheet from the director, Tony Palmer, and with a pretty iconic image which was taken. I'm not sure whether that's actually Buzz Aldrin or Neil Armstrong. I think it's Buzz Aldrin, but it's a very, very iconic photograph. Now, in the box, you will get a reproduction poster. And this was the film poster, and these are all very, very collectible these days. If you've got the original of this, it's probably worth quite a few pounds or dollars, whichever side of the Atlantic you're on. And all these film posters are now very, very collectible. This is a reproduction of it that you get in the box, and it'll look rather nice in a frame. Now, here's a rather nice photo. This is a charming young man there, doesn't he? I remember at the time he'd just got his hair cut because he was previously unshaven and had long hair. I suppose a bit of a hippie really at the time, but he smartened up his image a little bit. And in 1979, Mike Oldfield had the album out, Incantations. But what you get as the soundtrack to the film are little bits of incantation and little bits of orchestral sweeps and snippets from Tubular Bells and Hergest Ridge. And Hergest Ridge orchestrally has never ever been out. There's been an orchestral version of Tubular Bells for sure, but never one for Hergest Ridge. Until now. You get to hear some of it on the soundtrack. Now, these are the sort of things that film companies and cinemas used to have in the foyer. If you go in to buy your popcorn or your drinks or your hot dogs or whatever, or your sweets, you would find these cards actually in the foyer. There's a fabulous photograph of the surface of the moon. These are all official NASA photographs, as we saw on this one. There's the Saturn V. That's Apollo 11 taking off. And I can remember I was 11 years old, just before I was 11 actually, when that took place. There's one of the guys sort of stepping off the lunar module. These pictures and photographs are absolutely incredible. There's another one on the surface of the moon. And I can remember thinking at the time, wow, somebody's stood on the moon. I actually went and had a look outside because in the UK, when Neil Armstrong was setting foot on the moon, it was the early hours of the morning. There's a fabulous picture of the Earth as taken from the moon. How amazing is that? Another great one of the Stars and Stripes, as was planted there by Neil and Buzz on the surface of the moon. And of course, a great photograph that's the command module when it returned to Earth and when the guys were brought back safely. Now, having been to NASA, not that particular command module, but I'd been stood next to Apollo 14's command module, and then that was commanded by Al Shepard. But it was a great thrill. Anyone who grew up in the 60s and early 70s will tell you how incredible the moonshot and the whole space race was at the time. Now, here's something else that you will have got at the premieres of these films. It's a booklet. Now, there, of course, is Buzz Aldrin, who introduced it at the book. Now, Buzz Aldrin is, of course, the second man to have walked on the moon. Everyone goes, oh, well, he was only the second man. Listen, anyone who stepped on the moon is okay in my book. And there's some great photos in here and some great sort of actual footage in the film, of course, which is about 80 minutes long, just maybe a bit longer than that. Inside here, of course, we do have a lot of photographs from the film. Again, another hugely iconic photograph. I mean, there's so many people across the world will recognise that photograph, and having seen that photograph over the years. Now here we have something at the back of the book with Mike Oldfield, and that's how I remember Mike Oldfield. Now, in 1979, of course, he'd actually smartened his image up a bit. He looked quite sharp, actually, and his album, Incantations, there you go, there's the Incantation sleeve, as you can see. Slightly different image for Mike Oldfield at the time. And I guess this was probably, I mean, a huge job for Mike to actually provide the score and music for the actual film. And there you go, there's some other interesting photos. I mean, it cannot be underestimated just how important man setting foot on the moon was in 1969. Now here's the rest of the package here. You get a DVD, which is the complete film, and you get a double CD, not a single CD, a double CD. And that's all the music and a little bit more that is provided by Mike Oldfield for the film. I have to say, watching the film again recently, it's incredible. The footage is amazing. And of course, NASA had this footage for many, many years. And what I will do, I'm not going to give too much away because this obviously covers a couple of the Apollo missions and even Space Lab, remember that? Which followed the Apollo missions. I've been lucky enough to be stood underneath what would have been Apollo 18. Of course, the Apollo missions were cancelled, I think, in 1972, just before Apollo 18. But I've been lucky enough at NASA, at the Space Center in Cape Canaveral, to be stood under Apollo 18. And it's just an incredible experience, I have to say. But one of the big thrills for me in this film is watching Apollo 11 take off. Oh, the drama, I mean, it really, because it was actually struck by lightning on takeoff. I mean, how amazing is that? But everything went safely. They completed their mission and came back to Earth, and all safe and sound, and of course made history into the bargain. But watching the takeoff and the countdown to the takeoff, and watching the actual Apollo 11 being moved to the actual launch pad, I mean, it's incredibly dramatic. What can I say? It really, really builds. And then when the actual spacecraft and the rocket takes off, you have close-up footage of that, and believe me, it's absolutely jaw-dropping. It really is. And again, anyone who's lived through it, as I did, will tell you at the time, it was such a great thrill to watch these grainy photographs and pictures coming from the moon. And of course, in those days, in black and white, and now you get to see them in colour in this particular film. Now, I must say, the album, it's a double CD with all the music contained on the soundtrack of the film. There's some stuff there that you will recognise, of course, and there's some stuff there that you won't recognise. As I said, Hergest Ridge in its orchestral format has never been released before. It really is a great soundtrack, and if you're a fan of Mike Oldfield, you definitely want this. And there's a booklet with a lot of notes as to how the music came about for the soundtrack of the film. And as I said, if you're a Mike Oldfield fan, you're going to love it. If you live through it, you're going to love it. If you want something to sort of really capture the moment and treasure, then this is a really nice box set. And you can get it by going to gonzomultimedia.co.uk, click on the featured products, and you'll see this there along with other box sets. And as I said, well worth investing in. And of course, they are actually, like many places currently doing mail order and online sales, actually delivering through the crisis. So don't worry about that. You will get your box set as quickly as they possibly can. But it's been a great honour to be able to take you through this particular box set. And we will be talking about more box sets and other products coming from Gonzo Multimedia, including a Tangerine Dream box set, Rick Wakeman box set. We're also going to be talking about Rick Wakeman's new album, an America box set, a Trevor Rabin box set, and there's so much more besides. Oh, an Iona box set. Of course, we're hopefully going to be talking to Dave Bainbridge about his particular involvement in the Iona box set. So lots to come, and keep tuned to this channel and you'll see the various unboxing of all these amazing box sets. Thanks for watching.